Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Coping with Life. I'm your host, Scott. Hopefully you're doing well. So did you have a good week? I hope you had a good week. I did not. So this episode, as you can see, it's called Sadness. And, it's November. It's soon to be December. Last year was hard on me. This year seems to be on par. But, I haven't been sleeping well. I've tried my best to do things. But, depression and just dealing with a lot of things, being overwhelmed. And Thursday, my friends were playing. I was tired, but it's like, oh, no, I'm false alarm. So they left and they went to bed. And I stayed up because I couldn't get to sleep. Then I had a mental breakdown. And just, more depression and more stuff. And I fell asleep. I forgot to charge my phone. So that died. And so a friend was panicking because she couldn't get a hold of me. And I was asleep. And my phone was off. And good for her, using resources, contacting my apartment, contacting my mom, doing everything in her power to see if I'm alive, which I am, because with all my health issues and her gut feeling, she assumed that I was dead. But since you're listening to this podcast, as of today, I'm still alive. But, so, kind of proud of her for doing that, even though I was asleep. And I slept for a very long time. But sadness, and I've been trying very hard to, be positive and laugh and spend time with good people. But depression, sadness, and knowing that, it's the winter months that have really not been kind to me over the years. And so I'm trying. And I've just been wanting to sleep when I can. But yeah, sadness is a thing. And it's just, I'm also trying to calm my brain and find cohesive thoughts. Because there's a lot of things with being overwhelmed and just so much stuff going on in my brain and that I need to digest. And it's not easy. And I recently, there's a lot of things that I've noticed that I'm realizing that is an issue. You know, depression, sadness, and then, you know, I've never been one to shy away from having a conversation or, you know, find something to talk about or find words to explain things. It may take me a while to get to where I want to go, but I find my way eventually. But recently, it's not been easy for me. And, you know, more silent than usual. I'm just overly tired, overly exhausted. But also, you know, with sadness and depression and just trying to my best, there's a lot of health issues that have creeped up that I've made note of, and I'm kind of concerned about, because they're new symptoms, they're new things that I don't understand. But I've been dropping things a lot, and, you know, I mean, I kind of am a klutz, but not things that it's just been apparent that just dropping things, and so I'm gonna get that checked out the next time I see my doctor, because that adds more stress to me, because, you know, I have a huge laundry list of stuff that, and then it's like, oh, here's another, and I have no reason, and it's been happening a lot more recently, and especially in my brain, you know. One of the reasons why, you know, these podcast episodes are not edited, or very little editing on my part, is because I want to show, you know, how I think, you know, the process of my brain. But some of the things that you actually don't know is how many times I actually start over, or, you know, sometimes I mess up on my words. And I've been trying to record this episode, and it's just, you know, getting a massive headache, migraine, and just not being able to continue, because talking or just doing everything that I have to do to keep my show going. And you know, I even went, you know what, I will start over. I'm gonna lay down for a bit, and my headache never really went away, but I'm doing my best, and you know, the show must go on. And this, I really wanted to, you know, talk about sadness and, you know, depression, and especially with the holidays, and there's going to be more, hopefully, maybe, I don't know, but I'm trying, and it's just one of those things where finding a cohesive thought has been hard recently. And which is nothing new because I do have the mind of a squirrel, but just, with stress and trying to continue, and I worry. Maybe I worry too much about things that I cannot control. But, other than this week, and, trying to find, a good message. And, sometimes, a lot of people who are normal or have a good support system, sometimes they don't understand, sadness, depression, and what people go through. Everybody has it a little worse or a little light. The headache, migraine that I currently have, somebody might have something that's even worse. And I'm not comparing that, 'cause that's unfair. But for me, not being able to get my train of thought out there is frustrating. And when I get frustrated, I get stressed. I get worked up. And it builds with my frustration. And it just drains all of my energy. Because, I don't I don't know who does, but I don't like the feeling of being frustrated. And I grew up, talking hasn't always been easy for me, and I would always get frustrated because I have so much to say, or finding the right words, or when people interrupt me, those things I tend to have an issue with. Or if I want to say something, I'll try and say that. But the last week has been trying to find the right words, or sleeping forever, which it does make me feel bad, but at the same time my body really wanted to catch up. And I don't know. I'm gonna get it looked at. It could be nothing. It could be just, just, coincidences, circumstances. But I, thing that I notice, but then I have good people in my life, and I care about each and every one of you who listen. I do love you all. Thank you so much. It does mean a lot. And I know a lot of you out there are feeling sad and going through a lot, or people, and you're not alone. And it's taking a lot for me to say, excuse me, sorry, to me putting myself out there and, talking about my week, the ups and downs, and, not feeling the best. And I'm trying really hard now. Yesterday, which was Friday, was a great day for me, actually. But today, my brain, doesn't really want to function well. And my train of thoughts, I'm distracted way more than usual. It's headaches, and I'm trying to keep myself occupied, and I'm out of words, and I'm not it's not like I feel sluggish or unmotivated, because I'm actually highly motivated. And my drive is, but at the same time, I have to do the best for me. And, I think my body knows that, November and December aren't months that I look forward to. And hopefully later on this month, I will have the strength to talk more about that. But that's not this episode. This is more about sadness and rambles of me trying to get my brain to work. And I don't got anything planned this week. It might change, but I don't have anything to look forward to this week. Last week was amazing. I was really proud of my episode that I put out last week, which was about soccer, football. Thank you all for listening, and I'm still trying things, and just knowing that I really didn't have a good week, and scaring my friend is something that I never want to do, or her friends, or everybody worrying about me because of my health issues. And glad that it wasn't worse. I was just asleep. But just the breaking down and trying to cover up my emotions, trying to keep everything together seems to not be the best. But I'm very, very emotional, and it's just the way that I think. I wish I could say happier things, and maybe one day. But this is who I am. This is where I am currently. And, my mood, the way that my mind works, in about an hour, I may be perfectly fine. And, I'm well. My mood changes rapidly, and I don't know and my throat is killing me. But I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I do realize that circumstantial that recently my stuff, just thinking poorly, sad, or even having dreams that are sad, and I do want to cover my sadness and depression more in detail. It's not this episode. But this weekend I've just been more depressed. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I try really hard to not, but trying to find things and continue. But finding words, and I'm just the train of thought, and I don't know where I'm going with this right now, and that is the thing, THING, a thing that I can get frustrated with, because I know the direction that I want to go, but finding the right words to get to the destination, gets a little foggy and hazy, and I get lost. I get lost in the mist, and and I do get confused a lot, and I'm doing my best. But I have a good outlook on life. And also one of the things that I love about what I'm trying to do with this podcast is to, you're not the only one. I'm not the only one who has, stuff that I'm going through. And I want to branch out and help as many people as I can. And hopefully there's people in your life that cares about you. And I do. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody who is listening and helping, listening to my struggles, because, this isn't easy, and sometimes I have to take a deep breath, and I do want to thank each and every one of you, and continue letting everybody know and supporting me any way you can. But I love each and every one of you, and hopefully I can get way better, and but at the same time, this is who I am, and this is an issue that I have, and this is way more than my podcast. It's an everyday thing, because you could be having a conversation with me, and I don't either retain information, or I forget, or I just, it's not that I don't care or I lose interest, it's just my brain's like, error, and I'm And so, being real, being honest, and, I'm glad that I can be vulnerable and explain to everybody that, I'm not always on the ball, or I always have things to say, and I, dropping things, or feeling sad, or sleeping and worrying people, or being frustrated and not finding the right words, or having a major headache and migraine that just won't go away. Sometimes you have to take care of yourself. And that's what I've been trying to focus on. And my life goes, it ebb and flows, and sometimes I have really good days, sometimes I have really crappy days. This is somewhere in the middle. And so I hope everybody's having a good Saturday, whatever day it may be for you. It's a Saturday. A few facts. I'll throw some facts out there. One of the reasons that I say good morning, good evening, good afternoon is because my show is always, or should always be available noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you're in places like Hawaii, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. But where I'm at, it would be afternoon. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. It's just a little quirky, because I like to be different. It also stemmed from, I went to a bank, and I needed to pay rent. And being 9 in the morning, right when they open, I said, good evening. And they're like, what? It's like, good evening. Yes. And then I came home, and I recorded an episode, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon. A fun fact. There's many stories behind that. But those are the more recent ones. I like being silly. I like being me. I'm a big goofball. So I play a lot of video games. And I actually have been playing The Sims 4. And yes, that was The Sims 4 question mark. I think that's the one that I've been playing. Excuse me. I'm not 100% sure of the version that I've been playing. But I think it's The Sims 4. I think. But, so I made me. And, I realize that there's a lot of people who play The Sims. But yet you can really, and I'm not really talking about the people who are chaotic or people who just want to, murder people or have, live their fantasies. Give me a second. So I realize that there's multiple layers, but I'm going to just pick two. You have the people like me who I make myself, or I will make, a family, but, it's mainly me and my life, and I try and go through there. I think it was the first game where you could, have your entire family make bios. I wish you could make more of a bio. And I really enjoy that. And I'm not good at The Sims. My sim usually dies pretty quickly. But then you have other people who refuse to make, real world characters. They make, fantasy characters or ideals in their head. And I never quite understood that. There's no right way or wrong way to play The Sims. That's not what I'm aiming for. It's just I don't understand. But at the same time, they don't understand why I make myself, and I did that. So it just but yet both versions I can have good conversations, because then the other person, like, I put people in a room with no door. I trap them. Then I put them in a pool with no ladder. You got those people. But as long as you're having fun and it's enjoyable, no complaints for me. And I hope everybody's doing well. And thank you so much for joining me, even though I'm very scatterbrained. And I know the last couple of weekends I've been very uncomfortable, moving around a lot. I'm actually very still this week. It might be because of my headache, but I'm actually comfortable. So one of the reasons why you're not hearing as many squeaks. But me doing the best that I can. And I want to thank each and every one of you who's listening. Thank you so much for sharing, and until next week, where I don't know what next week will bring. I don't know what an hour from now is going to bring. I do want to rest my voice. I want to relax more. But I don't know. And there's a lot of things that I want to do, but I don't know. And for somebody who really doesn't have a lot of headaches hurt, migraines hurt. I'm not really understanding a lot, and it's okay. It's just me being honest. I'm rambling and I'm talking in circles and slightly getting a little frustrated because finding words are hard. But hopefully I can be cheery old, but I am hopeful that, this year will be different. That November and December, January, February will be good months for me. But, it takes effort, and I have to also try my best. And thank you again for listening and joining me on this amazing Saturday. Glad you could join me this week, and I'm legitimately teary-eyed of how amazing you all have been, and thank you so much. And I want to build a better community, and thank you everybody who cares about me, and it does, it makes me feel good, and I'm blessed, and I just care about each and every one of you, and I'm going to call it a day. And for somebody who sleeps a lot, or I just need to take rest and try and let a lot of things that's in my brain, let go a few things, but thank you so much. It really means so much to me, and but that's me coping with life, and I'm your host, Scotty. And for a second there, it's like, am I? yes, I am. Well, thank you so much. I want to give every one of you giant hugs, because that's who I am. So thank you so much, and y'all have lifted me up a little bit, that I feel less sad that I started, and hopefully we can continue upward and onward and upward, forward and onward. I don't know the saying. Anyway, thank you so much. I love you all. Big hugs. Enjoy your amazing Saturday and weekend, and hope your week is amazing. You have listened to another episode of Coping with Life. I'm your host, Scott. I bid you all adieu.